Book of Heaven, Volume 24, April 26th, 1928. What one gives to God with the I love you, the prodigious secret, how it forms many divine births, how nothing of what our Lord did escaped the most holy Virgin, how the divine will is the breath of the soul. I was doing my round in the divine fiat, and according to my usual way, I was investing all of creation with my refrain, I love you, I adore you, I bless you. And while doing this, I thought to myself, what do I give to my God with this long story of I love yous? And my sweet Jesus, moving in my interior, told me,
My daughter, a pure, holy, and upright love is a divine birth. It comes out of God and has the virtue of rising and entering into God, to multiply these births from Him, and to bring God Himself to each creature who yearns to love Him. Therefore, when the soul is invested by this love and receives this birth, she can form many other births for as many times as she says her I love you, in such a way that her I love you flies before God. And the Supreme Being looks inside the I love you that the creature sends to Him, and in that little I love you He finds all of Himself, and feels He is being given all of Himself by her. That little I love you contains a prodigious secret. In its littleness it encloses the infinite, the immense, the power, so much so that it can say, I give God to God. And in that little I love you of the creature, the infinite being feels all of His divine qualities being touched, because, since it is a birth from Him, He finds all of Himself in it. This is what you give me with your many I love yous. You give me myself as many times. There is nothing more beautiful, greater, and more pleasing to me that you could give me than to give me all of myself. My fiat, which forms in you the life of your I love you for me, delights in forming many births from us, and so it keeps the pace of the I love you in you, yearning to always mint the divine coin of your I love you for each created thing. And then it looks to see whether all the things created by us are pearled with the prodigious secret of your I love you. My daughter, we do not look at whether what the creature does is great or small. We look rather at whether there is the prodigy of our secret, and her littlest acts, thoughts, and sighs are invested by the power of our will. All is in this, and it is all for us.
After this, I was continuing my round in the fiat to accompany all that Jesus had done in redemption, and I thought to myself, how I wish I had done what the sovereign Mama did when she was with Jesus. Certainly she followed all of His acts and let nothing escape her. But as I was thinking of this and other things, my always lovable Jesus added,
My daughter, indeed nothing escaped my Mama, because everything I did and suffered resounded like deep echo in the depth of her soul. And she was so attentive in waiting for the echo of my acts, that the echo, together with everything I did and suffered, would remain imprinted in her. And the sovereign queen emitted her echo within mine, and made it resound in the depth of my interior, in such a way that torrents would run between me and her. Seas of light and of love, which we unloaded into each other, and I made the deposit of all my acts in her maternal heart. I would not have been content had I not had her always with me, had I not felt her continuous echo which, resounding in mine, drew from me even my heartbeats and breaths to deposit them in her. In the same way, I would not be content if even from that time I did not have you, who were to follow all of my acts in my divine will. In fact, even from that time I made the deposit of them in you, moving the echo of my Queen Mama into the depth of your soul. And through the length of the centuries I looked at the echo of my Mama in you in order to realize the kingdom of my divine will. This is why you feel as though drawn to follow my acts. It is her maternal echo that resounds in you, and I take the occasion to make the deposit of it in the depth of your interior, to give you the grace of making my eternal fiat reign in you.
Then I felt my poor mind as though immersed in the sea of the divine fiat. Its light invested all of me, and I could see neither the height nor the depth of its boundaries. I felt it as more than life in me, flowing everywhere within me. And my beloved Jesus, moving in my interior, told me,
My daughter, my will is life, it is air, it is breath of the creature. It is not like the other virtues, which are neither continuous life nor breath of the creature, and therefore they are exercised at time and circumstance. Patience is not always exercised, because many times there is no one who allows it to be exercised, and so the virtue of patience remains idle, without giving its continuous life to the creature. Nor does obedience or charity form their life, because the one who has the continuous act of commanding, or the one toward whom charity could be exercised, may not be there. Therefore, the virtues can form the ornament of the soul, but not the life. On the other hand, my will is prime act of all the acts of the creature. So, if she thinks, if she speaks, if she breathes, it is my will that forms the thought, the word, and giving her the breath, it maintains the circulation, the heartbeat, the warmth. And just as one cannot live without breathing, so one cannot live without my divine will. There is always need of it to be able to continue living. Yet, while they receive its continuous breath, it is not recognized. My will is so necessary that one cannot do without it even for one instant, because it is not only the bearer of all human acts, but is also the bearer of all created things. My fiat is prime act of the sun, and makes creatures breathe light. It is prime act of the air, of water, of fire, of the wind, and creatures breathe my divine will in the air they breathe, in the water they drink, in the fire that warms them, in the wind that purifies them. There is not one thing in which they do not breathe my will. Therefore, in all things, be they small or great, even in the breath, the creature can always do my will, and by not doing it, it is an act of life of divine will that she loses. It is its breath that she suffocates continuously. She receives its life, its breath, but to convert it into human, rather than to be herself, transmuted into my divine will.